Well, hey there, hope you're doing well today, wherever you're watching from. We are going to try to do this front-end mentor challenge. I actually just saw that the front-end mentor Twitter account tweeted this yesterday and said that was going to be up today, so I figured, hey, let's do it. The only trouble is it's not up today, so we're just going to take the image as if it's a dribble image or something else you found online and just try to recreate it without all the direction that we would get if we actually had the files. So hopefully all right with that, but that's what I was planning on today. Let me go ahead and switch stuff over here. All right, well, welcome officially. So as you can see, nothing's here, but I did find it on their Twitter account right here. So we'll just use these as like our point of reference. So it's basically a form with a subscribe thing. So I think what I'd like to do is just stick with basics today. So just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And you could obviously do this with other things as well if you want to, but I think that's what we're going to do. So by the way, let me know if you have any trouble with audio, video, or anything like that. So it looks like there's just a couple people right now, but I think for sake of time, because I've got limited time this morning, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in. So let me go ahead and come inside here, and let's just pm create v at latest. That works. Let's call this, I'm guessing they're going to call this like newsletter subscription form. I actually don't know because it's not up yet, but that's okay. All right, so let me go ahead and start this. And again, like I said, we're just going to use all the normal stuff. So we'll do JavaScript. That'll work. And let's go into the newsletter subscription form and pm install this. And I said I've got a comment here. All the new color stuff, LCH, I probably won't today, but yeah, I'd like to do some stuff on that. There's a lot of really cool stuff there. Let's see if I can remember this. I don't remember. There's a website recently that I saw. Oi, tudo bem? Welcome, Rodrigo. I don't really know Portuguese, but that's about all I got. All right, let me go ahead and I'm going to open this up in VS Code. And we'll just split it like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. And let's see, what should I'm not sure why I'm splitting this with warp. Let me split this over here. And I'm going to drag this in. Oh. Okay. Where are we at here? Let me grab this and split it here. And we'll stay over here the rest of the time. And I think just for ease of use, I normally would use warp as my terminal, but I'll just do it here. So pm create, oh, we already did that. Pm run dev, and we'll get this up and good. Yeah, he had a whole, Adam Argyle had a whole video. He also has a really cool website. I just am not finding it right now. So whenever I do the video, I will probably show off that website because it shows a bunch of different ways to interact with those color spaces. I have played with them a decent amount the last several months. I just haven't done a video on them yet. There's about 35,000 things like that where I just haven't done a video, mostly because I either haven't used it enough to feel like I can explain it well or just limited time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. Like I said, we've got this as our point of reference, and that's about it. So I don't have this image, so that's the only, I guess, the only tricky spot to trying to do this without it. So I think what I'm going to do is actually just, let's see, let me get as big as I can here. And I'm just going to screen grab this for now. And if for some reason they put up the image between now and then, we'll use that. So we'll call this like desktop image. That should work. Because my guess is they do these separately because that's what they usually do. And I'm guessing that this would just be I'm just going to cap it like this. We'll just have to put on the radius ourselves. We'll do mobile image. All right, and other than that, I mean, I can come up with a check mark fine, and I think that's usually going to be an SVG the way they do it. But okay, so let's go ahead and start with some basic stuff over here. So I'm going to get rid of this main.js file and this counter. And let's come inside here. And let's just get rid of all that. We'll call this newsletter subscription form. And let's go ahead and link to a CSS file, just because I think this is how most people would do it rather than grabbing it through the JavaScript, which would work as well. And then I guess I'd probably have, let's do a script and let's just call this like app.js or something. We'll do type of module. Making a type of module does several things. It does deferred after the page load for one, which is why even though it's in the head, it'll load after the body because of that. So we'll just do app.js in here, and let's just console.log yo. Okay, with that done, let's open this up. Make sure we've got yo coming in here. All right, there we go. And I've got Console Ninja logging it out here as well, so we don't have to look at it over there. All right, so we'll close that down for now. Close this down. We do have a style.css we'll play around with in a second. For now, I guess let's go ahead and drop these images in the public folder. Not the highest def things I've ever done, but it'll be fine for our use case here. All right, next, let's go ahead and set up kind of the basics of this. I always struggle just getting too focused on CSS because honestly, I really enjoy CSS. Hey, welcome. But I think in this case, maybe what we should do is just get the basics of the HTML in there and kind of go from there. So if I were to come in here, I'm probably going to throw all this in a main tag, and that will be what kind of sits in the middle. I'm guessing this background color, let's see how this works. All I've got is the images. So it looks like it's basically only on desktop. So yeah, so let's go ahead and see, can I like zoom in over here some? Okay. So we're going to manually type all this out because that's what we got. So if this is our main tag, I'll probably just keep everything inside of here. Now, as far as how you would handle this form submission, I mean, it would really depend on what how your backend would work. So for now, I think what we'll do is just maybe just create a separate route for that success page. And when we submit the form, go there. So maybe that's what I'll do. So I think that means we can just keep everything right here. So I'm going to have this, because it's the only thing on the page, we'll just say stay updated right here and make this our H1. And then for the paragraph, we'll do join 60,000 plus product managers. Okay, and then this will be a UL with 3 LIs inside of it. Yeah, and I think what we'll do is just for each of these, we're going to eventually have an SVG probably is what I would do. So for now, I'll just do like an SVG tag. And then down here, I'll have a paragraph tag. So let's say something depending on which one it is. So, hey, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Good to see you guys. So we're building out this project that is supposed to go up on Frontend and Mentor today, but we are so ahead of it that we're going to do it before it's even up. All right. Let's go ahead and grab probably phosphor icons. Phosphor icons. They have so many icons. I'm sure I can find something that's similar to what they got. So let's do like a check. Yeah, there we go. Check circle. And since it's filled, I'll go ahead and grab this. We'll just copy the raw SVG. And for each of these, I will paste this in here. And what I'll do is for these fills, if I copy all these, because it's embedded in the page, you can use current color, which is actually super old school. It's been around forever. But basically, whatever color you give the LI here or the SVG itself, it will actually change that background color to it. Hey, thanks. All right. Let me grab these starting SVGs here too. While we're at it, let me give these a class of, we'll just call them icon. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe we'll do icon small because there's a check mark right over here. Yeah, so we can do icon large there. Okay, so I think that's good. Let me go ahead and come up here and close down this UL. And we'll give this, how about this? We'll give this a role of list or something, which I think maybe ULs have that by default, but we'll use that to style it a little bit differently. Okay, then below here, we'll have a form. And here, let's go to success page. And we'll write that in a second. In fact, let's just come over here, success.html, and template out success. Okay, so inside this form, we will have a label, and this will point to email, and it will say email address. And then below here, we'll have an input, and this will point be a type of email that points to the ID of email so that these two are linked together. And then for placeholder, looks like they've got email@company.com. All right, and then I guess this needs to be the subscribe button. So we'll do button. And by default, these always have a type of submit when they're inside of a form, but we might as well just do that. Submit, and then this will say subscribe to monthly newsletter. And then probably just because we should, let's go ahead and give this thing a class btn, just that we can style it with a class. All right, and then finally, all of this needs to be wrapped in a div, and we'll call this like content or something like that. And then over here we'll have image, and we'll give this a class of image. Sure, that's fine. Now some of this will depend on exactly if we're on mobile or desktop. So I guess what we could do is just have two images. So maybe we could do that. And we'll have desktop and mobile. And this will be like graphs and stuff for both of these. All right, and then the way that Vite works, anything in your public directory is fair game. So I could just say like desktop, or what do we end up calling that thing? Mobile. So if I say desktop image, I think that should work. .png. Let's see what's actually coming up over here. Yeah, okay. Some of this is styled because I'm using their default CSS that they already put in there. So we'll say here this will be mobile image. Okay, so now we got both those images coming in. What application do I use for recording? For live stream, I use OBS. For everything else, I use ScreenFlow. And that's just because I do user education content for one of my jobs, and that's what I'm used to. Okay, let's see. Let's just double check that they haven't posted it yet. For those of you just joining, we're working on a front-end mentor challenge that they tweeted about that was going live today, but I was like, maybe it'll be live by the time we start this thing. Evidently not. So we're just going to use the image and be fine with that. I don't know what typeface this is. Maybe it's just enter. That looks like it could be enter. Enter font Google. So we'll go ahead and grab this. Let's see. What does it say? Stay updated. Let's see if this looks like this. Stay updated. What do you think? Oh, sure. Let's say it does. Okay, so we'll use maybe bold and medium, something like that. That would be my guess. Is there like a regular? Okay, there's a regular too. So maybe let's use that instead. Okay, so let's use both of those. Then I'm going to go ahead and download them instead of adding it there. I just did a video on that, so I might as well put it into practice and see if I can still remember what I did like 3 days ago. How how am I as good as I am at JavaScript? I'm not sure I'm that great, but I think a lot of it is just practicing a ton. Wes Boss has a beginner JavaScript course that I can't recommend enough. I think he's a great teacher, so I hope to be half as decent as he is, but he makes it really fun, which is a lot of it, and then just coming up with projects that you like. And I've written so many things in JavaScript that should have never been written in vanilla JavaScript, but I feel very confident in it for that reason, I think. Okay, so we've got the basics of what needs to be there. Why don't we focus on just the details of like submitting it and stuff, and then we'll go from there. So let's say I did like email@email.com. When you subscribe a form normally, it will redirect you essentially to, that whatever that other page is. In this case, let's see. I thought I could just, you know what? I need some kind of, I thought this would, so maybe I had to do success to HTML. Usually I'm using some kind of framework when I'm using Vite, so let's try this again. Email@email.com, and then it moves you to that page. Okay, so that will work. And this is just how forms work by default. The only difference here, I guess, is what I really want to do is run some checks on this first. Do I have to do some checks? So don't they have like some kind of form validation? Okay, yeah. So valid email required. So probably the other thing I should do is let's wrap these in a div. And we'll have another thing here that will just be a span or a paragraph that's at the error. Valid email required. And we'll hide or show this depending on what's going on. So is that what I want to do? I can use the hash selector. I was going to say I'll probably need to put this before and run the check in CSS through this. And that way, I guess we don't really have to do anything with JavaScript if I do it all in CSS. Because I think if I come over here, because it's an email type, if I try to hit submit, it's going to tell me I need to do that. So I can just do all the check off that, and we don't even need this app.js. Okay, so let's come in here and get rid of this too. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this thing functional, and we'll go from there. So the only real functional thing we have to do is have this thanks for subscribing. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll come over here and change this to main. And I guess we can just leave it at that, I think. Hey, thanks so much. You're welcome. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Yeah, I think everyone connects with other people, different ways. And so the fact that I can be somebody that connects with you to teach you something or anything is really cool. Let me jump back over this way, and I'm going to steal one of these SVGs right here. But yeah, it's like everybody explains stuff in different ways, and honestly, like one of the things I've learned the most is that when I don't connect with somebody at first, it may not be them, it may be me. And so if I come back to them, sometimes I'm like, oh, they actually were a really good teacher. I just didn't know enough, because it's hard to teach on every individual person's level, and people change too. So sometimes they're right where they need to be to hear whatever the lesson is, and sometimes they're not quite there yet. Or sometimes you just explain it poorly. But when they know a little bit more, they're like, oh, that's what he was kind of saying. So don't give up on teachers either if you don't find them great at first. Let's see. I won't tell you who I did that with on YouTube, but let's do strong tag here. I'll do Ash at Lorem Company. Oh, you know what? This is going to be dynamic, right? Probably what I would do is put this inside of a span and then put the strong inside of there. Let's just do it right here. So we'll say email. And we can actually run this instead of using JavaScript. We'll just run it off of the can I do it that way? I mean, the other thing we do is run the entire switch off of the query param that's put on there normally when you submit a form. I think we'll just do it this way. I mean, obviously you probably wouldn't do this in normal, just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript anyhow. You'd probably have something else, but we're just going to try to keep it simple. Because if you know React or anything else, you can always adapt this. But if you don't know React and I do it in React, then this is only useful to those people. All right. Is it a dismiss message button? Okay, scrap the whole idea. We're changing this. So what I'm going to do is switch this out here. And okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this all. And we're just going to do this as if it is like React or something. So the same kind of thinking we would use for React, that is. So I'm going to wrap all this in like sign up or something like that. And then we'll wrap another one with like success. And we will basically hide one or the other depending what's going on. And that way I can have a dismiss message that when you click it, I guess takes you back to the form. I don't have a home page, so I'm not sure what it's supposed to do. So here, yeah, I mean, it probably would be button. The class of BTN, it says dismiss message. And I guess this needs an ID of dismiss or something. Okay. And that way, what I can do is I probably will have to use JavaScript a little bit then. So that was premature. So we'll say app.js. Let's kill this success one. And let me make sure I've rehooked this thing back up. So yeah. Script.src, app.js, type of module. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get this thing functional, and then we'll spend our rest of our time styling. So email at email.com, subscribe. It's going to send it to here by default, so we want to handle that instead. So let's go ahead and grab the form, and let's go ahead and add an ID to this of newsletter form. And what we want to do is prevent that. So let me come over here. Yeah, let's just do this. We'll do newsletter form. And come on. Okay. Then what we're going to do is form.add event listener. This will be on submit. So this captures not only submitting the form by clicking the button that says submit, but also if you hit enter when you're in the form, it'll submit it. Same kind of thing. So it'll capture all of that. So you don't really want to capture it on the button. We do want to grab the event that will be passed on by the browser. So this E is just whatever the browser is going to pass on when we submit it. And then right now, let's just go ahead and console log the event just so you can see what's going on. And it should show over here because I've got Console Ninja up. So if I come over here and say like email at email.com, subscribe, you should see now it's submitted the event right here, which is good. What we probably need to do is e.prevent default, first of all, so you can actually see the page not refresh. So let's bring this all the way back. Okay. And email at email.com, subscribe. You can see here, I get all this. Now there is a way to actually pull up stuff over here. So here I'm getting the placeholder, value, all this kind of stuff. So what I want to do is actually grab the form inputs. Now in this case, there's only one, but I still think it's good practice to go ahead and use the form data API that comes in JavaScript. Oh, I think I did a short on that recently now that I think about it. But let's just call it like form, what is that called? Data, right? equals new form data, and then we want to pass it. Oops. Is it form data? Yeah, there we go. We actually want to pass it the form itself. So you can actually pass it form since we selected it here, or e.currentTarget or e.target, either way. That will give us a list of entries. We can extract the entries out of that as we want to. What I usually do is just do entries equals object.from entries, and then we're going to do it from the form data. And then let's console log the entries here. Yeah, let's go ahead and show this output again. Okay, so if I come over here and do email.email.com, that should have given me that, I thought. So maybe I did something wrong here. Eject from entries. Let's double check I'm getting what I think I am right here. So I'm getting no form data. Let me do the e.target in case I'm wrong there. Huh. Well, let me look up form data. Maybe I'm just messing up something. I wonder why I'm not getting this. It's probably something small then. New form data. It's a form element. Yeah, I mean, I'm passing it the form. I mean, that's not really going to make a difference, but let's try it just in case. So, yeah, I'm not getting anything on that. That's really weird. It must be just some dumb error I'm making that I'm not seeing right now. So, okay, well, for now, I guess what we'll do is let's just grab it. I guess we'll just grab it off the form. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong there. So we'll grab this off form, add event listener, and we'll listen for, not event listener, query selector, and we'll just grab the ID of email. And let's see, let's grab this, and we'll just console log the email at that value. So if you see what I'm doing wrong there, let me know. I'm not sure what it is, but it shouldn't be difficult. So I don't remember having trouble with that before, but there you go. Okay, at least we're getting it now. Let me know if you see whatever I was doing. Okay, so now what we want to do is basically update this is a success message, and we'll pass it our email. So let's write that function, and this will take it an email. Oh, I'm not writing in TypeScript. And this will basically update the strong tag with email. I guess we should just go ahead and do that now. So let me go ahead and come inside here. So it would eventually update this. Oh, I gave this an ID of email. That was stupid. Submitted email. How about that? Okay, so over here, let's go ahead. I guess let's just do it up here. Const. We got our submitted email, and all we're going to do is take submitted email.text content and set this to the email that we pass it. So that's down here. Please send it to wherever. So if I come in here and paste this in, let's see. Then object.input. This is just a string. Oh, I need to do that value. Okay. Let's try this again. So up here, paste that in. I hit enter, and now it says email@email.com. Okay, so that works. So the only other thing we need to do is functionally, because we'll handle this with CSS, we need to, I guess let's just like switch sections or something like that. And so what I'm going to do is grab both those sections, which we called content and success, or success and something, sign up. So let's do sign up, and maybe let's change this to an ID. Where's my other thing? Maybe let's have an ID of success and a class. So we'll style everything with the class. Let's do an ID of, and let's just call this wrapper or something, and that way we can use the same generic styling for both of them. Okay, so let's grab success or sign up, and then we'll also do the same thing with success. All right, and all I'm going to do is, I guess let's just have like a active section, and let's see how I want to toggle this. Let's not do that. Let's just switch the two based on whether they have like a hidden class. So this one will also have a class of hidden. And what we'll do is just go ahead and add this just so we can see it. So this will be display of none. Oops. That. So this whole bottom section should be gone now. And then what I want to do is just come inside here and say sign up dot classless dot toggle hidden, and we'll do the same thing with success. So basically, if I come in here and I add this and I hit enter, something should happen. Oh, I have to actually run this. So down here, let's just swap the sections now. All right, and then we go to that. And if I click this, I guess I also need to add that. So if I grab this dismiss button, do the same thing here. And we'll add an event listener for this. So dismiss.add event listener, and this will be click. And all I want to do is tell the browser to run the function switch sections. Actually, no. What I want to do is two things. So let's go ahead and do this inline. So I want it to switch sections. And then I probably also want to update success message with an empty string, so that if I were to show that again, it would basically be empty rather than being whatever the last person's was. Well, it wouldn't be the last person, but whatever the person is who added to it. So let me come in here. So if I hit submit, that's good, and it should say email@email.com. If I hit dismiss, it should go back. And on top of that, if I were to jump inside here and look at the elements, and look inside here, this one should say confirmation was sent to, and then an empty string inside here. Okay, so that's functional. I guess let's just work on styling now, unless there's something else that we should be doing. Now we could spiff this up some too if we have time. Let me come over here and just make sure they haven't posted it yet. If you're just joining us, we're doing this before they posted it. I just saw it on their Twitter, and I thought it might be ready by the time we got around to it, but it's not, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and do mobile first. And we're going to kind of guess, but it looks like it's basically full screen. So the first thing I want to do before we do anything, though, is, let's see, let's go ahead and just scrap all of this. Even though I probably wouldn't mind some of this, let's go ahead and just kill it all up to here. See if we can keep a lot of that stuff. We'll get rid of that. I'll do all that in the body. Okay. So we'll do font stuff. Let's go ahead and grab our colors and just add these kind of one after the other. So I'm going to use this little color picker I've got. And maybe the better thing would be to grab the colors off the desktop since it's a little bit bigger. And we'll zoom in here. I guess that didn't really help. Let's grab this right here and we'll paste this in. So we'll call this like background. And I'm just going to declare these as CSS variables and we can use them all throughout the project. So let's go ahead and just kind of see what we need. So we've got the background color, we've got the button color, which is also the text color. So maybe we just say text. We'll set that up. We've got, maybe we call this like backdrop. And then this would be the actual background. So we'll say backdrop, how about that? And then background. We've got an accent color. We've got an error color. Anything else we've got? Sorry, I just hit my mic. I don't think so. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab each of these. So, I mean, this is going to be very loose, but something like that. And, man, this is hard with it being such a poor image quality. Let me see, I think, yeah, I'll just grab something close to it. We'll call this our error color. Yeah, I think that should work. And then the background, let's choose this here. It's just plain old white, huh? And then finally, assuming this is the same as the text and everything else. So maybe let's do this. I like to typically work in HSL. And so let's go ahead and just convert all these to HSL. And eventually LCH, whoever asked about that originally, but so let's get rid of all these right here because I would rather wrap these later. And then let's get rid of all these as well. All right, that also means I can grab this here and we can set this to like 99 just so it's not totally straight white. And so we can see stuff. Let's come inside here. We'll grab the body and we'll say background color. And I'm going to wrap this in HSL and we'll make this my background like this. And what this will do, if I jump back over here, is set the background here. Now the advantage of doing it this way is I can add opacity on the fly, like 0.02, 0.05, whatever. And you can do some other cool stuff with it too. So this is how I typically like to use colors. I probably also want to set the theme color theme scheme. There we go. To light, dark. And that way it's set up properly. What else do I want? See how this all changes to this white. So I guess maybe let's leave it on white because it'll eventually be on a white background. We'll say everything inside the main, or what do we call that, wrapper? This all needs to be background color of HSL background. Oops. Didn't give my expansion long enough. Okay, so there we go. So it'll all be inside that anyhow like that. Okay, let's also take the font family and this will eventually be enter and then sans serif, and we'll add that in up top here. So let's do a little to do here for ourselves. Add font. Okay. Anything else we should do? Let's go ahead and I guess set up under fonts. Let's set up some font sizes. So it looks like we've got basically 3 different size of fonts, if I'm seeing that right. So let's just come in here and say font size 400, which will be kind of like our default. We'll set this to 16 pixels, and then font size, I guess let's say 600. Just skip a level. Let's do, I don't know if it might be like more like 32 pixels. So maybe we do like 2.5 rem, and we'll set this at maybe like 1.2 rem. It looks slightly bigger. And then we'll have a font size 200 for our small stuff. And this looks like it's maybe like 0.9 rem, 0.8 rem, something like that. Okay, so I think we're set there. It looks like those two are smaller. That's at least how I'm seeing that. Anything else I need? We got some different roundings, so I guess we could also do that. So radiuses. I guess that's how you spell radiuses. So we'll do a round, small. And here, I don't know what that would be, like 0.5 rem maybe. Round, I guess medium. I'll do 1 rem maybe. And then around, I don't know that we'll need this, full 100 V max. V max looks at the width and the height of your viewport and picks the bigger of the two and rounds it off of that. So it's always going to be a circle no matter what. Okay, anything else I need? I guess I could have some transitions. So let's go ahead and like, let's just do like, I guess, what if we call this like ease? We'll do ease elastic. And then let's do a cubic Bezier curve. If it'll like, prompt me with anything, no? Usually it gives me like a little, right now let's just do ease in, ease out. Usually it gives me some intelligence that gives me an option. Okay, anything else I need? I guess we could do some spacing stuff as well. So let's do that. Just trying to set up all these variables so that we can just quickly template this out when we get to it. So it looks like, you know, if I look inside here, we've got this right here, the spacing in between these, spacing between these, and the spacing here. So 4-ish, because this looks like about the same as maybe what's in between here. So we're going to do space small, and that's probably this small one right here. Let's, I don't know, let's do like a 6-point grid maybe. So the medium, maybe we go 8-point grid. So 16, probably 24, probably 32. Good enough for me. All right, so we'll do large and extra large. Anything else I could think of? I don't think so. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the styling of the mobile first. So we'll come over here. So what I basically need to know is that this is going to be full screen. So let's come over here and we'll just switch back and forth between these. So for now, what we're going to do is let's do a media query, and I guess we could do this in a few different ways, but let's do only screen, and we'll do a min width of 768 pixels maybe. It might be a little too small. Let's do like 500 pixels. And here what we'll say is desktop image. Okay, so let's grab these. Okay, so I think that's the opposite of what I want, which is why I'm glad they've got new media queries. So this would be max width here. And then we just flop this around. Min width, you go 501, and this would be mobile. Okay, so should only show mobile there, and here should only show desktop. Okay, so that works. Then what we need to do is do a basic clear. Come on. So let's do box sizing of border box. And then I'm going to go ahead and set my margin and my padding both to 0. because I usually like the parent to control that anyhow, and we'll just do it that way. Oops. I subscribed, which we should probably also check that that is. Let's add that here, even though it's not CSS. Check. Oh, let's just make it required and be done with it. So right here, if we add this as required, it won't let it submit anyhow. Okay, that's good enough for me. Okay, so over here, let's shut down this. Let's go ahead and structure this the way it should be. And so what I'm going to do is take the wrapper, and we'll display flex wrap of wrap reverse. So it should be up top basically. And we get larger, it'll be next to it because it'll have switched to the desktop anyhow, and there'll be room for it to wrap. So that should work. The only other thing I need to do, let's see, this stops it around. Okay, that works. Although maybe I should change these. Let's do like 700. Just to make sure there's actually room for that to fit. So we'll flex wrap reverse, and then let me go ahead and take this image mobile and let's do here the utils and move this up just to kind of organize some of this. And what we'll do is, oops, grab this here and say border radius. Let's see, end start, that's fine. This is my var rounded medium. Is it end? What is that? What would it be? End. Border end. Yeah, I guess. Okay, so yeah, these should both be rounded. Come on. Where are we at? Well, let's just change this then, because I don't know how those logical ones work. So border left, bottom left radius. We'll do bottom right radius. Okay. And then probably what I think some of the problem is I just need to have a clear for those images. So we'll do display, block for both of these. And max width 100%. Okay. All right, so that should mostly work. Let's also next set some basic font properties on the entire family. So we'll grab the color, and this will be my text for everywhere. The other thing, we'll do line height. I'm guessing it's like 1.4 or something like that for everything, and then we'll change it on the headings. So maybe next, let's just set this like global styles, basically, for the body. And here we'll do text styles. And here what I want to do is set, I guess if I really want to, nah, this is fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab my H1, which honestly, if I was doing normal H1s, so like this right here, what I'd probably do is add a class here of H1. And the idea here is that the semantic tag needs to be an H1, but I don't necessarily always want it to be an H1 styling. So rather than like adding other random classes, I could just do an H1 here. And that way, if this was like an H3, but I want it to be styled like an H1, I could do that. And you can see the browser defaults are already kind of coming through here, but let's go ahead and grab this H1 class. And we'll say font weight is bold, and then font size is var font size 600. And then we'll do line height, and I usually do 1.1 for headings. We should probably also, just out of good practice, set a max width on these paragraphs of 60 characters, which I don't think any of these quite get to that anyhow. Okay, next let's go ahead and let's just work on this top section here. So here's what I got, unless they've updated it. Come on, before the end of the stream. Okay, so let's go ahead and just style this section right here. These all have the same kind of gap too. So whatever we called that, see, wrapper. So it's content over here. So let's do that. What did I do here? This is wrapper. So I think probably what makes the most sense is to put this inside of a content as well. And that way we can kind of style them both at the same time. So we'll do content class, and then I can come over this way. We'll call it sections, that's fine. And then here, display grid, gap of var, space. We've got our medium, which I think that should be about right. Between all those, yeah. I probably also, so we could do this wrapper in a couple different ways, but I think as far as like how this padding goes, because we want this image to be full screen, I think the easiest thing would just be do it on the content, since they both have that anyhow. So here, let's do the same thing. We'll do padding, and that might actually be good enough. Maybe it needs to be large. Sure. Okay, let's also, let me use Josh's reset, because I think he's got, what do I want here? No. I think Andy Bell has good. Yeah, right here. This. I mean, all this we could also do, but let's just come back this way. Okay, so there we go. We got rid of those. Okay, so let's think about any other utility classes we could use before we do too much individual styling. So these are obviously flex items, and it looks like they've got this same spacing, which is my small spacing, my medium spacing in between them. So we could call that like a flex medium, because those will always be next to each other. This right here, I want to put these like flex between this and the error message. So maybe let's have a few utilities like that. So usually I like these utilities kind of up top, and that way I can override them if I need to. So let's go right below our globals. And here let's do a flex medium. This will just be display flex, and yeah, let's do gap of var space medium. And then I guess what I could have also done is, instead of doing the whole content grid, I could have had a grid medium and done the same thing. But because it's also got this padding, I don't know. Let's go ahead and do it, because I think that's what I would actually do in a real project. So then all I would do is have padding only on the content like this. Now I could also give a utility class for all the padding, but eventually you're just recreating Tailwind. So I usually kind of cap mine. I have a few things that I have utility classes for, and everything else I just style individually. That's how I prefer to write CSS, but you don't have to. So I know a lot of people really like Tailwind, and there's a good reason for it. So let's grab these wrapper classes, and here I'm going to add grid medium, and I hit Command Shift L to grab all of them. So it should have changed this one up here too. So it should look the same over here, but now it's just styled a little differently. And wasn't there another one? Oh yeah, right here. This is probably like a grid small. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So we'll do grid small. Actually, I know it is, because we made it just for that. So the cool thing here is, now what I should be able to do is come inside of all these LIs like this, grab all these at the same time and say class of flex double dash, and was that medium? Yeah, so now they're stacked next to each other. Now I need these SVGs, these icon smalls, to also be flex shrink of 0, so they don't shrink at all. That should work. And then honestly, I'd probably have another util that was just item center, and that way I can throw that on anything that needs it. So let's do that as well. So on all these flex mediums, let's do items center, and it centers those things vertically as well. Okay, unless they're supposed to be centered up top. Centered up top. Well, forget that. So we'll do item start, and we'll change this to start. Now the UL does need the grid small as well. So we'll do class here, grid small. Now those are spaced out that way. This content right here, I thought I had, oh, I did this grid medium on the wrong thing. Let's just get rid of that and come in here to the content and set a grid medium there. And let's look at all the other contents. Grid medium. Messed up the meta tag. Okay, so now we've got actual grid spacing there. That should all work. This is showing here. Why? I don't know. Oh. It's because on the wrapper, I have this as display flex. Okay. So let's have another utility since we're just using it for that. I guess we'll just do it here because the other thing doesn't need this. So let's do that. So we'll just come and grab this first section basically, which should be, let's see, all of this right here. And let's say like card or something. Now we're just randomly adding classes. So where's my sections? So we'll wrap it like that, and that way email at email.com. This takes us here. We're set to go. Okay. All right. I think that's mostly there. I just needed to style the button and stuff like that. So let me grab up top here and let's take our button and input and label. We'll set all these fonts to inherit. This will inherit all the font properties from the body, which is nice. Take the button and we'll have a cursor of pointer. That way we get that. And we'll also set the background color to transparent or none. I'll do the border at none too. We'll style that separately. Okay, we'll obviously overwrite that, but I would usually do some kind of clear like this on a button. Let's actually just take all this and drop it up here. Get rid of all that stuff. Okay, so let's style that next section. So I think we said we were going to do space between here. So let's just do like flex between. Justify content space between. This will take any flex children and space them across each other as much as possible. And let's see what else we need. I think I am going to add back in an item center, so I can use that here. Center and center. Because on a larger project, you would not want to be constantly having to type those basic things out. So let's close this stuff down so I can at least see what's going on. I like how it's like not letting me close everything. It's a little weird, but oh, I had a form labels here. Well, we don't need that anymore. We can say flex between and items center, and that should set these things across each other. Now, one thing I probably do want to do is set, since these are smaller, I want to set these both at small tags. And the browser by default will make them smaller, but then what I'm going to do is come over here and grab my text styles and grab my small tag and set these to font size of our font size 200. And that way they're my size, the size I want, like this. The other thing I want to do is grab my error. So anything with a class of error is going to be color of HSL error. So there we go. And in fact, I think, let's go back here. I don't remember where I grabbed that one color off. Let's leave it like that. I don't know, maybe I should make that my accent, actually. I think maybe it needs to be my accent, and the error colors maybe for the background of that error box, maybe. All right, so I think that looks slightly better. Let's also grab our icon small, because we forgot to do this, and we're going to set the color here to my accent. And you might remember that we set current color on those SVGs. Because they're embedded in the page, we can change the color of that section based on whatever we set the color to. This also seems slightly big. So maybe I need to change this to flex of small. And flex medium. It needs to be small. That looks slightly better. Okay, so I think that's set. Let's go ahead and work on the styling to the form. Maybe let's do the button first, because that's a little easier to remember what it's supposed to look like. So let's see. Text styles, let's come underneath here. And maybe we'll do like button styling. So here we've got a button. We've already done some basic resets here, but let's go ahead and set the color. Let's start with background color. And we will set this to text, right? Yeah. And then let's copy this down for this, and we'll change this to background. And then for padding, we'll do var space, probably small everywhere. Maybe we do var space medium. Max width will be fit content. So right now it goes here. Actually, no. I want this to be width is 100%. Yeah, and then we'll do text. In case it wraps for some reason, text align center on like a super small screen, I guess. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, forgot a dash there. All right, and then we got border radius will be var round small, I think is how we set that up. What do we think? Could probably be a little taller, so maybe it should just be like that. Sure. So this form, I think I also want on here a grid medium. That will space out all those things. And then maybe here we wrap this in grid small. Do we have a grid small? Grid small, we do have a grid small. Maybe it doesn't even need small. So maybe we don't use that. So I'll just put this in an empty div and we'll just call that good. Okay, let's also hide this for now. And we'll show it just on error. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me just double check that font isn't supposed to be bold. It kind of looks bold, doesn't it? Yeah, let's go ahead and set the button. Font weight. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I wouldn't mind having some better default like hover states and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and grab the button and we'll look at the hover state and we'll set this to, let's do background color. Let's do our text and then we'll set an opacity of like 0.8 on it. So if I come in here, you see that. And then we'll transition this on the background color. Let's do like 200 milliseconds. Here's where I want my cubic Bezier curves. There we go. All right, and we've got a variable we set up for this of ease elastic. And here's where I'll drop the cubic Bezier curve. And that way, if I come in here, it kind of snaps in a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's also add, while we're at it, let's do a focus. We're going to do outline 2 pixels, solid and transparent. That way it's not visible. When you focus on it, we can add our own, but for some accessibility reasons, it's important not to remove that altogether. So we'll come in here and say focus visible. And here what I want is a box shadow. And we're going to do basically 2 rings around the box shadow. So we'll do like 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 3 pixels. No, sorry, 0 pixels, 3 pixels. So what we're doing is no blur, no movement. We're just basically making a ring. And if I set this to text, you'll see that. Or actually, let's set it to accent so it's a little easier to see. So when I focus on it, you see I get this ring around it. So I'm actually going to set this to my background color. And then basically outside of that, so if I hit comma, and let's just do it maybe down here just to make it clear, we'll have an outer ring, maybe 6 pixels. That is my accent color. Something like that. And Prettier just destroyed that for me. Hey, welcome. So if I come in here, you can now see I get this kind of cool banding effect. Now let's go ahead and add the same ease here. So I'll do comma, and it would be like this, and Prettier is going to get rid of this for me again, but box shadow. And so now if I snap to it, see how it kind of snaps up. So there we go. So I get the hover state. That's nice. I get this state. That's nice. So cool sauce. All right. Let's see. Anything else I need? I don't think so. So let's just do the form itself. It looks like that email address label is a little different. So let's come in here. Maybe we'll just grab like form stuff. This will be font weight bold. And now let's actually grab the input, which normally I'd have some kind of class on here. Did I do a class? No. So let's just use input. That's fine. Normally you'd want something like that. But here, kind of try to remember this, and this does look like a gray color instead, so I might need like a muted. So let's do this. Let's grab a muted. Because this is HSL, it's pretty easy to just say like, give me like 6% or something, and then maybe 69, something like that. So down here, let's grab var space medium, sure. Border radius, probably my var round medium or small, because it should match the button. We'll do border 2 pixels solid, and then here's where we'll use our new muted color. Let's come over here. Yeah, more or less, maybe 1 pixel with 100%. Now I kind of feel like this does need some spacing. So maybe let's come back here. I'll say class, grid, small. I think that's all right. Let's just keep it there. Let's also get this thing back down to mobile view. Okay, so that's basically good. Maybe let's go extra small. And then so we can do this in a couple different ways, but let's just calculate it. And we'll do times 0.5, so it's half as small. And now we don't have to add extra variables just for that one thing. Okay, so the other thing then would just be the form input on focus. So we'll say outline. Let's just actually steal all my button ones. Because I mean, I'm pretty much going to make it the exact same. So I'm going to grab all of this and then come back to my input and drop all this right here. I guess hover. Do I want anything to change here? I don't think so. Let's grab all these, change these to input. Let's see. That. Okay, so we do have a background color issue. So I don't really need, I guess, anything on hover, right? But when I focus in on it, why not do that, right? Now, technically, this should be on focus or focus visible, because I think you'd want that on mobile too. So let's just do it like that. And that way, while you're typing here, that's good. I guess the other thing we could do is grab the input placeholder and make sure that this actually is our color of our muted. And set the color here to my text color. Although I think I had it inherited anyhow by default. So there you go. Something like that. Okay, so really the only thing left to do on the mobile styling is just if this is not a valid email address thing. So what I can do is say, let's first of all say not valid. I think we're going to have to change more beyond this, but here we'll say background, this should be error. All right, so now, if I just do this, you'll notice that it's going to be on there automatically. So I think what I first of all need to do, I think I can do it this way, is not empty and not valid. Is that right? You know what? I think what we'll do is just have this empty after. And here we'll set this to our background. So if it is empty, we don't have to worry about that. Oops. Valid. Background empty. What was the keyword? There we go. Okay, so let's grab the input and say when the input is not valid, and we'll move this up actually above this, right? Then I want the background color to be my error. Patience. All right, so if I start to type something and hit enter, okay, it's not empty. So why is this overriding it? Because if I remove this, what am I missing here? There's an invalid. Can I stack these? I don't remember. Invalid. Let's see. Let me know what I'm doing wrong here. I think this is just a logic problem. I mean, it is early in the morning for me, so that's my excuse. Background. But that should only be if it's empty. So if I start typing, that's not valid. Shouldn't it be? Okay, well, since I can't figure it out here, which I should be able to do this with. I don't know. All right, well, let's just do it in our app.js then. So what we'll do is let's have like a, where's my input? So we'll say with input with an error class. Let's go ahead and just add that on here. So class would be error. So when it has an error class, yeah, let's go ahead and just change the background color here to my error. And let's go ahead and view that. I feel like that's still a little dark, so something like that. We'll do the, I probably just want it as a box shadow, honestly. So we'll do 0, 0, 0, 2 pixels, and here maybe, it looks like it's like the accent. We'll do the same thing as far as the color for the text. Now, to show that little section, maybe what we should do is come over here. So this should only show like this. That still is way too dark. Let's do something more like that. I also feel like all these fonts are just too thin, so maybe when we add that custom font, I just need to make sure I add a medium. Okay, I think all that's set. Let me make sure. For some reason, it looks like there's a border on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and say that whenever the form, so we'll just say one form, and here we can use the has an input with error. Then what am I wanting to do here? I forget what I was going to use that for this error class, but I can't like select a selector inside that. So let's come back out here. Okay, let's just get rid of this. Add this here. And now what we're going to do is do a check whenever we submit the form. Guess we'll jump down this way and pass this to the email.value. And we'll say if valid, then do all this stuff. We'll just do all this, I guess, in JavaScript. So we'll say function. Is valid entry is going to take in an email, or I guess it's a string technically. And I guess inside here we want to do a couple things, like check if it's empty, which I guess they can't submit it anyhow because it's required. Just validate email. Yeah. So let's just, I mean, I'm not going to write custom regex. Let's do email validation regex. Just give me the regex. So all I'm going to do is actually, I guess we could do I do have to pass it in as a string. And then can I like declare if it's global right here too? Like global like that. I don't remember if I do that there or more here. Let's do it like that. Okay. Then all I have to do is return string.test red.test and pass it the string, I think. Okay, so let's do that. And let's come in here. We'll console log it. So something here. Okay. How did I mess up this regex? All right, let me go back. Just grab a different one. I think I'll just grab this one since this one. So this is Python. Okay. Here they're not using any regex, they're just matching it. Okay, that's fine. So here's what we're going to do is take the string dot match and we'll match it against the reg. Okay, let's try this again. Something, add something. So that was null. What if it's email at email.com? That's also null. Oh my, what does this give me back? Valid is undefined. Isn't there there's a match method for regular expressions. This should not be difficult. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Match, mail format. This is like one of these things you do all the time, but I just usually copy it, so. Okay, I thought this was what I had before. Let's just grab this here. I'll just call this reg. Reg text. Okay, well that's what I already did. I must have had the syntax wrong though. So can I return red.test and then pass it in my string? Well, let's try this again. Testing regular expressions with Chris. True, okay. All right, so if I did this, I think it will pass the check. It says it's true here too. Well, maybe that was just a bad. What if I do that? So that says it's false. Okay. So there could be better strings basically written here, but at least it's actually passing. Goodness. All right, so assuming it passes, then we're good. So if it's not valid, then I want to return display errors here. I guess maybe let's just do this as an else if. Nah, I like it like this. So it's going to return and then it won't ever hit this. Okay, switch sections, display error. So all I want to do here is grab let's call this error message. And error message here as well. And I just want to grab this error message. And I want error message .class list .toggle hidden. It's going to turn it on and off. So if it's not valid, so if I do something that would pass the browser check, but not that, it would do that. So that's good. The other thing I want to do, and maybe what we do is say toggle errors. And that's what I'll do here. Is that what I want? No, I guess I would only really want to show errors. All right, so let's just do that. The other thing I want to do is take my input, right? I'll do the ID of email, that's fine. And I just want to since I'm not toggling this, let's just remove that, and then we'll add the class of error. So if I came in here and did something that would pass the browser, but you can see now I get this error validation message. Now the only trouble is when I go back here and remove this, it's all still there. So the other thing I could do over here is on my input, say that when it is input dot, how about empty, we'll basically get rid of all this stuff. So here, this will go to, oops. None. And here, this will go back to my text. All right, so that way if I come in here, why is this triggering no matter what? Nah, we won't worry about it. Okay, we'll just leave it like that, and if they mess up, it's on them to not mess up. So email.com, we come here, we're good to go. Last thing I need to do is style this, and then let's get to the desktop and be done with this project to it. Okay, so down this way, wrapper, hidden, this content grid. How do I want to do this? I guess I could take the wrapper. Basically say 100% v height. We'll have to change some of this up on desktop, but oh, I can't make that a display grid the way I set that stupid thing up. So maybe we should just change that. Or no, we could do the content. There we go. Okay, so now if I come in here and do email at email.com, let's do this. Let's come over here to the ID of success. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my success. Say min height is 100 VH or DVH, I guess, technically. And then email.com. Let's do content. There we go. Okay. All right, so we're set there. And now if I hit that, we should be good there too. So we're all good on that. We just need to now do our desktop, and then we're set. Okay, so we've got this properly set out. Probably what I need to do is pass. maybe we go past whatever the image size is, which is 550, which I think I had changed this up earlier too, didn't I? But let's take 550, 551, and here's where we'll make any adjustments we need. So get any bigger than this, then I need to swap these two. So we've got content and these images. So I'm going to give these a class of image just so we can style them without, I guess, selecting the tag. That's not like that's that much better, but what I can do is say, let's see, here is what I'm wanting. So this image, I want to be flex 1. And I also want to take the content. So maybe we just take both these at the same time. Content, do the same thing. We'll also take the wrapper, flex, wrap, set this to none. So it shouldn't be flexing. It should not be wrapping right now. Right? Let's come inside here and see what we got going on. This is the wrapper. Oh. Is it the card that's messing it up? Because this is where these two things are. Let's check our card. Display flex, wrap reverse. It's no wrap. Oh, you idiot. Okay, so something around there. And then what we'll do is let's take the image and set it like that. So what I think we can do is set the image flex bases to something like 30. No wrap. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Dante. Let's go ahead and I guess the other thing I need to do is grab my main. Put all those center. And let's grab my wrapper. So let's see, why is this thing? Is it the card that has that on it? It's really hard to see with. Let's go fit content and see what we got going on here. So why is this thing taking up the full height? Because It's hard to navigate with all this being so big. Fit content wrapper. Okay, well, I'm getting rid of that. Min height. That's my problem. Okay. So let's come down here to the bottom wrapper. Min height. Can I set this to auto? Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Let's also set a border radius here of var round full. How about medium? Okay. And then let's check over here. Looks like there actually is some padding. So we'll do padding var space medium. Okay, back over here. Let's now just grab the image desktop. We'll say border radius var round medium as well. The tried and true misspelling of radius. Okay. I mean, I've seen worse things in my life. Let's maybe just cap this. And how is this? It's in the middle. Okay. So we need a space between those two. And this is where we're going to use our large. And this should be on the card. Let's also take the content. See, max width here should be like 40 characters. It looks like it's just intentionally a little smaller. 45. Updates on, right? Yeah. Okay. I mean, email at email.com. I like this little animation. Enter. Thanks for subscribing. I guess here I need to also worry about the so what is this thing called? Success. Wrapper. Min height. Auto. Then why is this thing so massive? Not totally sure here. Success content. Oh. Well, that's because I did dumb stuff up top. So let's just go ahead and repeat the dumb stuff here. Success, just for the sake of speed, content. And we'll do min height. It's back to auto. Okay, there we go. So enter in email at email.com. It updates it right here dynamically. You hit dismiss. And again, we just did this with vanilla JavaScript. Probably you would do this with something else. All right, so let's at least add our local font. Let me switch stuff over just so I can open up my downloads without exposing whatever's in my downloads folder. And then I'll show you what I'm doing in a second here. So we'll say fonts. And I'm going to grab, let's do the bold and the medium. Okay, and switch back here. Okay, so all I did was grab those two font files that we downloaded forever ago. I don't think anyone's probably still with us that was there, but if you are, congrats. I know we've had a lot of people kind of coming in and out. So what I want is my font face, and we're going to name this Enter, because that's what it is. And then there's a couple things we can do here. So we can pass in, which I just did a video on this, so let's see if I can remember this. But if I come inside here, I guess some of this styling maybe we should work on before we're totally done. If I come in here, I look at font, Nothing's currently being pulled in because it is just using my installed font. So maybe I should get rid of that too. So that popped up on my other screen here. So we'll say enter. Font book is thinking, but I'm going to disable that just so it doesn't pull in. Deactivate. Okay, so now if I refresh, you'll see. Let's see, it doesn't know what to do with this, maybe. It should be pulling in eventually something, but I don't know, maybe I have to restart my browser for that to work properly, so never mind. We'll reactivate it. Okay, so back over here, let's just go ahead and finish this out. So enter, and basically what I want to do is pass it a URL of where this is found. So it's in my public directory under fonts, and it's called intermedium.ttf. And then format is TTF or true type, I think is how you're supposed to do this. You can actually pass it multiple kinds. So the other thing I'll pass it is a local font so that it can load locally, which would be intermedium. And then what we're going to want to do is font weight, and this will be basically the normal is what it should be. And since I only have two, we'll just do that. Font style, style will also be normal. So it should use this, and it would basically look first at my local machine, whoever's visiting the site, and see do they have intermedium on here. And if they do, it'll use that. Otherwise, it will basically download locally here rather than going out to Google Fonts to do that. There's some security concerns and also some speed things that will help with that. So this would be bold, this would be bold, this would be bold. Okay, so now it can basically pull from these instead. So it looks like my disabled thing finally started working. So it can't find it now in my local because I disabled it. If I were to re-enable this, basically it wouldn't load that anymore. Now I have this disabling cache, or preserving log, at least I think it did. Yeah, so there. So now it's pulling in my enter. Oh, it's because I did enter body. Okay, so it is working. So this is enter body, and I don't have something called enter body in my machine, but I do have something called enter bold. So if I save that and refresh, it shouldn't pull in anything. So it's just going to use my local fonts, which it tried to do anyhow. It was smart enough to try to figure that out with this declaration right here. But yeah. All right, so let's fix a couple like ancillary styling things, and we'll call this good. So I'm going to come down here and also say that this needs a padding var space medium. Sure, that's fine on just on desktop. The other thing is this image desktop flex basis. We'll do like 30% maybe. Why is this thing? Not adjusting. How do I have this set up? This should be my card. No, this is my content. And then desktop is next to that. That's because I have this already declared down here. I'm not sure why. This is, oh, maybe it's because I have this max width on here. Flex grow, we'll do go 2. Flex shrink, 100. So this should, I think it's this max width that's throwing this whole thing off. Because when I get a little smaller here, now this is overflowing on top of that. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. Let's just say max width, like 200 pixels. There we go. Fixed. Just not exactly sure why this is breaking. I mean, I know I'm not flex wrapping it, but so I guess on both of these, what I could do is grab this content. Do the same thing here. It's probably some funky thing that I did, but for now I'm just gonna do that. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I kind of hate all that, so let's just get rid of this and just say that hopefully nobody ever visits the site in mobile because I got to get going, or on a tablet. So that should work. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong there, but I can just change this too as a temporary fix. But I got to get going because my wife needs to leave early this morning. So that looks kind of crappy, but then right here we're fine. So at least this is manageable. It's not exactly sure why everything is acting weird like that. I'm sure it's just some property I threw somewhere. Okay, well, at least we're basically set. I think we added the font faces up top, added everything else. Hey, Jayton, good to see you too. Join Poppins is part of the overused web fonts. I know, right? I'm just guessing that that's what this is, but not totally sure. Well, thanks for following along today. Let's see if the Frontend Mentor project is actually up yet. It's up, just in time. All right, we got to see what's in here. Right when we're done. So, log in with GitHub. Oh, come on. I'm going to switch over just to make sure I don't expose all my passwords. So, I want to see what font we were supposed to be using this whole time. So, I can't believe it was done. It was up as soon as we finished. Well, I've never been more on top of... let's see. Oh, I think I changed my email in here. Coding. I've never been more on top of something before in my life. Hey, awesome. Glad you enjoyed it. Honestly, like, my whole intention in starting this channel, and I tried to keep this as kind of my North Star, is just like, I want to learn. And the more I focus on just learning, the better it is for me. And I think the better it is for the channel because I really enjoy it. Let me switch back over one more time. I don't know. I have no problem against people who want to like make money off YouTube or want to make a name off YouTube, but like I couldn't honestly care less. I just want to learn and I want to code. And for me, sharing what I'm currently doing, which is basically all I do, I just share whatever I'm currently doing at the time. That's basically what I do all the time. So, I don't usually like come up with stuff just for the channel. It's just whatever I'm doing, and I don't know. I feel like that makes it more enjoyable to watch. Okay, let's see what we actually had here. 375, 400. Roboto. Oh, sorry. I guess I'm not very good at spotting fonts. I'm not going to switch that out now. Font size, we did a little bit larger than that, but that's fine. Slate gray. So yeah, I mean, about the only thing I really should probably switch over is just the images. So maybe we can do that and then call it good. Say I don't need that. Let's open up a sidebar over here. So these images, I'm going to rename these as desktop. You can go totally if you want. I just love how this came out right at the end. And these are SVGs on top of that. So let's say desktop or mobile image.svg. So let's drag these in here. See, just inside my public. We've also got a list SVG and a success SVG. So we'll drop those in there. And then I guess we'll just do tons of fetches. So here, we're going to change this to .svg. And here will be .svg. I mean, perfect. There we go. And I guess for my SVGs, let me just, I'm not gonna, let's take all of these, icon large, right here, icon small. So I'm gonna replace all of these with these SVGs. I'll grab this because I think that'll be consistent, just in case I had like icon small. In case I had some special styling. Okay, so it's slightly different. Let's also go ahead and grab this. I just prefer not to do all these fetches. I might as well embed them directly in here. Icon success. I'll do icon large down this way, just in case I did some styling there. All right, I'll look at my email.email.com. Look at that. It's got a gradient to it. All right, well, that's all she wrote, folks. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that was enjoyable for you. Looks like maybe some of my styling here got kind of knocked off, but we're going to call that basically good. I hope you enjoyed it. And now you can actually go look at how it's supposed to be done on the actual thing that came out. So, but you know, I didn't know that at the time. So for those of you who weren't watching from the beginning, which I don't think anybody probably stuck around the whole time, but basically my flex small. Basically the thing I did was see that they tweeted about this, and then instead of waiting till it was published, I just decided to go ahead and do it right away. And that was, I assumed it would be ready this morning, but it wasn't. So, oh well. Let's change both of those. Maybe let's grab this again. And we'll change this to flex medium now. No, not medium. What am I wanting to do? Grid medium? Maybe right here? It's too big. All right, whatever. That's fine. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed that. Thanks for following along. Enter as our font now. I know, right? All right, well, I already said goodbye like 4 times. I got to get going. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this kind of replication of whatever this front-end Metro project is supposed to be. Now you can actually go see it all yourself and play around with that and get the actual design specs from them. But thanks so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Happy coding.